Hello, everyone, and welcome to Proper Chicks After Dark. It is Tuesday, May the 13th, 2014, and a much requested show tonight. We're here to play some Conflicted, the survival card game. What is that, you ask? Why, it's a deck of 52 cards, and on each card is a different survival scenario. This deck can be used in your survival or prepper group to open up dialogue and discussion for not only survival situations, but moral and ethical questions that you might have. So, let's get rolling because we have a lot to get through tonight. So, backed by popular demand, the one, the only, Alika.
Thank you for having me back again.
I need like sound effects or something, like the crowd cheering and stuff like that.
I know, I was speechless for a second. Well, as always, I am here repping SHTFready.com. We are a prepping survivalist website that shares ideas, and we help each other learn and prepare. We keep the politics out, and we focus on prepping and survival. Beginners to experts are always welcome, and we've all heard of the ant and the grasshopper story. We teach you to be the ant.
Awesome. Always a joy to have you with us. And the creator of the deck himself, JD, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, Laurie. It's always great to be here.
And now you have a couple exciting things going on, just to keep everybody up to date on it. First, you have a specific deck coming out to benefit a certain author that we all know and love.
Yes, Mr. Jeff. And we've been working together for a little while to try to get this done. The deck itself is already ready to go, and we're going to be launching on the 27th. And it's a conflicted game based on the books by G. Michael Hopf. If you guys haven't read it yet, go read it. It's really awesome. It's the perfect deck for you to use to introduce people to play Conflicted, because it's based on a very successful book that's been out for a while. So it kind of has something to do with prepping, but at the same time it does not, because it's not portrayed in that light.
Yeah, I've got actually the deck, and there's some really, really good questions in there. So definitely another one to add to the stockpile. But on top of that, you have something else that's coming out here, maybe in a couple weeks, or when is it due to release?
I think in the next week or so. We made some last minute changes to our app, our phone app. And it's going to be really awesome. Not only you're going to have all of our decks on our app that you can get, we're also going to have a way for people to talk and kind of share their solutions and vote them up and down and just create this whole conversation between the entire community.
And the community could be worldwide, correct?
Exactly. And the cool thing, the way we designed this app, the app itself gets no information about your phone or about you. Nothing. You're completely protected, privacy-wise. So, and nothing gets stored as far as your personal information. So whatever answers you give, it's all kind of nameless. Nobody knows who it is. Not
awesome.
Even the NSA.
Awesome.
So NSA, if you're listening, there's nothing for you there. You can look, but
we still love you.
Yes.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do. Hush.
But I'm very excited to see the feedback from everybody on this. And we have a lot of preppers from all over the world who can't get it, because maybe their country won't allow it or it's just too expensive. So having an app for both Android and Apple, it's just going to get the word out there.
Awesome. Droids rock, so that's cool. We get left out sometimes, and it's a little depressing. But
I love Droid.
That's awesome. All right. So our newest member of the family, joining us for his debut. Not really debut. He's been with us before, but he did such an awesome job, and he's such a load of fun that we're adding him into the regular lineup. Geek Prepper, welcome back.
Woohoo! Thanks for having me. Love this show.
We're happy to have you. You're a lot of fun.
It's because I drink.
Well, nothing wrong with that.
No, really. No, come check us out, geekprepper.org. Giving you the edge when shit hits the fan. We cover everything from ham radio to digital security and just the stuff you don't see on the other site. So we'd love to have you.
Awesome. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
Our special guest tonight, by much ado in the chat room, but by the way, hey, everybody in the chat room, great to have you guys here tonight. You're a blast, let me say. So, after much him-hawing around, and I don't know if we had to actually physically bribe her or not, but the one and only, the Doc is with us tonight. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Lori. It's a pleasure to be here. And if there's a physical bribe, you should actually mail it my way. That would be nice.
We'll get you a shot of rum. We're going to pass the bottle tonight. We should do a game like that one time on one of the shows. Whoever says prepper, everybody has to take a shot. Or something.
Yeah, but then the whole conversation's going to go into
prison sex.
Prison
my
sex.
God! No, I can't imagine.
Barter sex.
Barter sex. Yeah. But the Doc is here, and we've been Facebook friends for a couple of years now. And she's been over on the Pink page making corrections to some of the comments over there. But you have a unique background that we can take advantage of. And what is that?
Absolutely. Well, for about the last 10 years, I've been working on several different degrees and finally accomplished last year getting my PhD in geology. So a lot of my expertise is, understanding how volcanoes work, understand how earthquakes work, what if scenarios, and what do you really need to be worried about?
Definitely. Well, that's going to lead into my first question then. Let's rock and roll here. So, each of you, what is your top 3 areas of concern that you're watching in order to be prepared in your preparedness walk? So, JD, what's yours?
Well, the financial collapse for sure. That is just waiting to happen. That's number 1. Number 2 is the whole thing in Ukraine. And I think that could be the spark that could set this whole thing off. And number 3, I'll have to say, I don't know, maybe a solar EMP.
Not a man-made, just a solar?
Or man-made. The thing is, the solar stuff, it can happen so fast, and you're not gonna know. So, because the government just tells you 2 years later, oh, by the way, 2 years ago, we missed this by 2 weeks, or everything would have fried and everything would have changed forever. So, EMPs for sure are always in the back of my mind. But the financial collapse, man, is something that I just watch every single day.
Alika?
My biggest fear has always been EMP, man-made or solar. Just the grid going down. It would just be chaos. Of course, the economy collapsing. I think that'll put everybody into feral mode real quick, or feral mode real quick, and we'll start eating each other. And I think just one big natural disaster like Katrina or an earthquake of some sort will just knock everybody back a few years, and it will just be utter chaos.
Is there one
What's that?
Is there one earthquake area that you watch in particular?
California's got to be the biggest one.
Really? Even being on the East Coast, I figured you'd watch the Canary Islands.
No, I'm not too concerned about earthquakes here. California would be my biggest concern, and then also Utah, Idaho. That area sits on one of the biggest faults. I I can't remember the name. I'm sure our new guest can help me out here. Yeah, thank you.
Well, Doc, what do you think? What 3 are you watching?
Well, the 3 major geologic, I think pretty much anything for me would be geologic, and then the human reaction would occur afterwards. So, we're in a time right now where coronal mass injections, which are the massive solar flares, could come at us. And so that could pretty much wipe out most of our technology. And then the earthquake location that I would watch would actually be the Cascadia fault line, which goes from Northern California to Southern Canada. And that is a much more dangerous area than the San Andreas because it's a different kind of fault line. Yellowstone, different story. Maybe it's bottom on the list.
Really? You put Yellowstone at the bottom compared to everyone else?
Yep.
Why?
Eruptions occur periodically, so geologically things happen much differently than we see them on a human time scale, and the amount of time that it will take to actually have an average eruption for Yellowstone is up to 100,000 years into the future. So it's something that I don't think our generation needs to truly worry about. There's a lot of scientific evidence that's, records harmonic tremors, that's if magma is actually moving, and there has been a lot of that. What you do see at Yellowstone is because the entire park is in a caldera, you do see a little bit of CO2 gas bubbling, and you see landslides. So that's a hazard there, but not the entire caldera erupting.
Gotcha. Geek, what do you think? What 3 would you choose?
Oh man, the 3 I had are beat to death, so I'm going to change mine up a little bit. Pandemic, I think we're really overdue for a civilization calling disease. I think of super volcano. I fear Yellowstone. I mean, I agree that geological time frames are very vast in comparison to our lives, but no one's ever expecting a volcano. And obviously a coronal mass ejection, that could happen anytime, or a man-made EMP. It'd just be bad for everyone.
Gotcha. I think I'd have to throw in the pandemic considering what's going around in here. But I think JD brings up a good point with the economy falling, and what's going on overseas. Definitely stuff to watch out for. It doesn't always have to be zombies. And watch, Jane's gonna jump in there in the chat room. Not zombies, it's always about the zombies. No, not always, but the economy is a big thing. Declaring martial law in any of them is a huge concern. Probably one of the biggest on my list. So they'll use any disaster whatsoever in order to create martial law. And that's a big concern. So, interesting series of answers there. I'm watching the chat room. Somebody put aphids and spiders and things like that, but
and another thing, Lori, people may ask, why is this going to lead to war? Why is the currency collapse going to lead to war? Because the government, once it siphons so much of the production power out of the economy, there's going to be a point where it's just going to shift. The people who are now viewed, it's already happening. The folks who are viewed as poor guys, we got to help them, we got to give back to them. They're going to be seen as a bunch of lazy people, and they got to get back to work. So the government is going to actually turn the gun on us, to maintain power. So, and the way they do that is by causing a war, because a war, they kind of tend to unite everybody. People accept austerity a lot easier. And it's just a way for a socialist government to keep control after they basically suck the economy dry.
Yeah, and right now I don't know if anybody's watched in the news. It's been all over it today. Actually the last couple days, with us removing our troops from overseas in Afghanistan and stuff. And this is the story they're giving us anyway, so let's leave it at that. but they're bringing all of the equipment, vehicles, whatnot, back here to the United States, and they're divvying it up amongst the local law enforcement agencies around the country. Indiana, here in Indianapolis, just got some rather interesting vehicles to enforce, possibly martial law. Wisconsin, I just posted some pretty cool pictures of some things. What do local law enforcement agencies need this stuff for? So just something to keep heads up about. But definitely an interesting set of answers. I think that we're all on the same page watching the same thing. So let's go on to the next major card. So does anybody have one they want to play?
I actually got a question, but it's not the card game. I was really interested to see everybody else's answers.
How dare you?
I know, right?
He's a winging it. Watch out.
Do it.
All right. When prepping, do you gather your supplies that will bring the most bang for your buck, or do you gather items that you think are common and that everyone else is also gathering, so you have the possible opportunity to scavenge later? Example, getting a 10mm handgun, way cheaper than a 9 or a 40, and trying to stockpile that, or do you get the common weapon? Or another example, buying cheap trioxane fuel tabs versus stocking up on propane.
Okay.
Where would you go with that?
Good question.
Well, I have something to say about that, because about a year ago or two, I was going to buy a handgun, and I really, really, really wanted a Sig Sauer. But actually a little bit longer, it was around the elections. And I said, well, if Obama wins, I'm going to buy a Glock, because he's going to crash the economy. And if I need to scavenge for parts, I'm probably going to find more stuff for Glock than anything else. But so if Mitt Romney would have won, I would have owned a Sig Sauer by now. But because Obama won, I have a Glock. So, so that's how I kind of faced that situation. That was my decision.
Well, why can't you get both?
Because people aren't buying conflicted as much as you think, Laurie.
So you saying I'm slacking? Okay. Geek, what do you think? What do you do?
Common use all the way, especially firearms. I'm not a fan of the AR-15 platform. I like it. I'd rather have the AK-47, but here in the U.S., DHS is stocking up on all the bullets, guns, and ammo we're going to need. We just have to sit back and wait and, get the scrounge spare parts when they fall.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are that mindset.
Keep an AK for the long haul, definitely. Just wash out in a stream and put some animal fat on it and shoot the thing all day long. But for the initial skirmishes, definitely, AR-15, Glock 19, Glock 40 caliber, just keep it common.
Yeah. When I have a Glock. I actually have a Glock and a Sig. Sorry, JD. Sucks to be you, but.
Dang.
But my mag for my Glock will fit in my Sub 2000 too, so I have now a rifle that I can convert over. That's what we look at. The firearms that we've purchased are multi-use as opposed to single use, and we do that with a lot of our preps.
That's cool.
Doc, what do you think?
Well, I think that's kind of a complicated question, just because for myself personally, I primarily focus on myself. So I would assume that all of my preps are, everything that I think that I would need to continue my kind of lifestyle. And if some of the common items I can trade away, or some of the non-common items I could trade away too. But I don't go at it with the perspective of exactly what's common and what's not, really. I know, not much of an answer, I guess.
Well, you can only stock so much items. So, what would you do if you were stocking, say you did have a 10mm handgun and you stocked, 10,000 rounds, and all of a sudden now you're out, that handgun's pretty much useless versus if you had a 9 or a 40 and, you could possibly raid a police station that's been deserted and pick up ammo there and have a better chance of defending yourself.
But you have to watch too, depending, I think we've seen it over and over again here recently of these homes, these people that have stockpiled large quantities of ammunition getting busted and it being removed because, the government comes in and says, you don't really need all of that. What do you have that for? So you have to be very, very careful there.
Also, for me, in terms of firearms, I don't really have a stockpile of a bunch of guns or ammunition. I have some, yes, but I don't go out and I don't personally stockpile a lot. So I wouldn't be trading that anyways.
Yeah, but that's the difference, I think, between a woman and a man. And I'm going to probably get beat down on this. But for a guy, the ones I know anyways, it's like women buying shoes or purses. Every day my husband comes home. Well, it doesn't help. He works in a gun range either. But hey, guess what they got new out? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, every time I see him, it's like, oh, check this out. This is cool. Whereas opposed to women, we purchase for the functionality of it and what we specifically need. And that's pretty much it. We don't go buy the newest fandangled thing out there because we already have that area covered.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if guys had an open checkbook, they'd probably have one of everything, whether it was common or not.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Amen.
Yes.
See,
yes.
See,
definitely. But same with
it's shiny.
Yeah. Shiny shotguns.
With my arsenal, I'm not. I have an AR-15, but working with it, I don't believe in the platform, but for practical use and being able to scavenge ammo later on down the road, that's why I own it. Eventually, yes, if the wallet opens up and the gun gods smile upon me, I will get a AK-47.
But see, I have an AR, so that shoots 9mm or not 9, 223 and 5.56.
Yep.
But if I wanted to shoot 22, guys would go buy a 22, correct?
I would just buy the conversion kit.
That's what I bought, was just a conversion kit. I used the same rifle for it, just flip the conversion kit in within 2 seconds? I mean, it doesn't take very long. And bam, I now have a completely different rifle for a different reason. But how many people know there's a conversion kit for a 22 for an AR?
But wouldn't you rather have 2 guns in case you needed to give to like a kid or somebody else to?
If I'm walking by myself and I got to carry the damn thing, no.
Oh yeah, if you're by yourself, it makes sense.
Besides, all my kids have their own, so. And no, ARs aren't for rich people. You can build them way cheap, let me tell you. Actually, we're having a get together at my house today's Tuesday. Thursday night. Ribs and AR builds. What more could you ask for?
Yeah, they've come way down. You can slap them together for about $400.
Yeah, really easy. So, but okay. So, are you satisfied with your answers, Alika?
I'm good.
Okay. Anybody else have a new question?
Let
Okay.
me see here.
I'm going to go back to deck 1, actually. And an EMP went off, and you have about 2 weeks' worth of food and water in your pantry and $200 cash. You also have a handgun, 300 rounds of ammo, and 4 more family members to look after. What would you buy with the $200 before the chaos took over, and why? And I'm going to add another question. How long do you feel it would take before the chaos started? Geek, what do you think?
Bow and arrow. Bow and arrow, you can get it real cheap. I mean, eBay, yard sale, whatever, $30. Food and some more bullets. I'd buy some canned goods, dry goods, beans, and bullets, definitely.
Well, remember that the EMP went off, so you can't do eBay.
That's true. That's true. I'd have to do some barter, so I'd probably just, hustle myself in the town looking all sexy. And,
you're going to sell your ass. That didn't take you long.
Well, the only commodity I really have is for that $200, and I might need that money. No, I would head to the, local granary, because those farmers, they're not going to be put out so much by the EMP. I mean, they'll be pissed off, but they'll still be at work. So I'll just have them dump some grain into my kid's wagon, and I'll pull it home.
How long do you think after an EMP actually goes off, do you think you have before chaos really hits people what's going on?
10 days, tops.
Really that long?
Well, I think it depends on your geographic location. I'm in a suburb, so I've got 10 days. If you're in a city, you've got your 9 meals away from chaos. You're 3 days, tops.
Okay, so you'd get some food and some bow and arrows. What else was there?
Bullets. You're gonna need more ammo. I mean, 300 rounds, I guess it's a handgun, so you could make it last, but I'd try to score, a shotgun or something with that money.
$200 isn't a whole lot to get a shotgun with.
No, especially after that, I think your prices and your commodity market would go way up fast for anything.
And you have 4 other people that you're looking out for, don't forget.
Wow, that's almost my real scenario. Food. I think with 300 rounds of ammo, I could definitely get more ammo if it came down to it.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't poach people, but if they came for my stuff, I think I'd be okay.
Okay. Alika, take everything away that you have except for a handgun, 300 rounds of ammo, and you have 2 weeks worth of food and water in your pantry. $200. How are you going to spend it?
Definitely get a water filter and some cheaper means to filter water. A couple dozen gallons of Clorox. And the rest would be spent on food and garden seeds.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. JD, what would you add?
I think I would buy some chickens and maybe some meat rabbits. Those are cheap.
Yeah.
And
after Easter, you can usually get them for free.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Whoops. This thing's getting bigger when I feed it. Imagine that. My kids don't think it's cute anymore.
so there is that, and there is, I'll probably get some seeds as well. And rice and beans. You can get a freaking 20-pound bag of rice for $20.
Yep.
And that'll last you a long time. You get 4 of those and get a couple more of beans and the chicken and the rabbit stuff. You should be set as long as you don't need to go anywhere. If you need to go somewhere, bug out, that's all you got, then you're screwed.
Yeah. Doc, what would you add?
I think some things that I would probably purchase if I lost everything that I had is probably a couple bags of charcoal and some sand so I can make my own water purification for long term.
Good.
Depending on the time of the year that it was, I would probably go to a nursery and buy plants that are actually on their way to producing along with seeds. And then probably buy canned and dried food. Common things that a lot of us probably already have, not just beans and rice, but, things like powdered milk and, veggies. Get some things with nutrition in there.
What about something that nobody brought up? What about making sure that each member at least had some kind of knife?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you guys definitely hit on it. And Doc, why don't you explain a little bit, if you can? A lot of times we talk about, we have to have bleach for water, we have to have a filtration system like a life straw or something like that. But you brought up a really good thing of taking possibly like a 15 or 55 gallon barrel and filling it with?
You want to do several different layers to create your own water for purification. So, I mean, you can actually use like a double-bagged garbage bag, essentially, and you want to do several layers of sand and charcoal. Or you can even use firewood as well, but you have to ensure that it's finely ground so that it can actually catch all of the nasties that are in the water. And you just kind of layer it. You can hang the bag from a tree and just, dump your water through it, and that would be one of the quickest ways. Or you can have, a larger water barrel that, one of the 30-gallon ones.
Another thing, too, I've heard that you can also add in between the layers is oregano leaves. If you have them in your garden, they will kill a lot of the bacteria and stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, oregano is really good for antimicrobial.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's a perennial, so it grows every year around here. Actually, mine's already up this year, which is always a plus. Oh, let's see here. Pretty much anything else anybody want to throw in there that you would add? Just off the top of your head. I'm going through the chat room here real fast. Yeah, Dan, all he wants is a good hooker. What about alcohol?
Yep,
Nobody
fire
mentioned
steel.
Fire steel? Nobody
Yep.
mentioned any kind of medical supplies.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that $200 is going fast, isn't it?
It's like my paycheck.
I don't think you'd be able to get all that stuff for $200, especially if there's inflation of any type.
Oh, but the faster you get it, the better before chaos sets in.
You gotta
But
rate the dollar
have
store.
you been somewhere where the power's been out before? I mean, because most of the stores, they run on electronics. So if you go somewhere to buy something, a lot of times they just turn people away.
Yeah, we've seen that in Walmart this past winter.
That usually incites a riot too, or looting.
Yep. Bust out your EBT cards.
Another good reason to be prepared ahead of time. Stay away from those crazy people.
So,
All right. So, definitely some good information there. And some thinking out of the box, Doc. Thanks for that. All right. Next question. Anybody have one?
I do.
Lay it on us.
This one came out with number one, but it's probably becoming reality here. Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, and Venezuela declared war against the United States due to the death of the dollar, which led to a complete collapse of the global fiat money system. They blamed the U.S. government for ruining the global financial markets and are using propaganda to get the support of their own people. Your country's president got on TV and declared that there are rough times ahead, and that all citizens need to prepare for World War III. What would you do after hearing that?
Well, we could wake up tomorrow and actually read that.
Silence because it's shocking. Because it's very close to reality. Geek, how would you handle this news?
That's tough because I think about that one all the time. I mean, the petrodollar's done. I mean, China's taking gold, for oil, paying for oil with gold. I mean, so I think we're right there. I would just go full DEFCON 5. I would probably start fortifying my area, stop going to work, maybe take some vacation time and just start putting things in place to secure my homestead or to move out. Your time is short when you hear that. I mean, you've got days, maybe a week to travel before, it's full on martial law.
Do you
right?
think there's a, do you think people are better off bugging in or bugging out in this kind of situation?
I think that depends. Everything I have is here. I'm 600 miles from my closest family, so bugging out's a last resort. I've got food. I've got water. I could I could potentially mobilize my subdivision into a fairly cohesive unit, I think, and probably arm them fairly well. Not to give you too much info.
And where do you live again?
California.
Uh-huh.
That's a lie.
You
I'm
live in
not telling.
California?
No, I don't. I live in a socialist state, though. I'll tell you that. So that really narrows it down. Yeah, bugging in. I mean, you can't just run off and go. I mean, I got food here. I got fuel. I got generator, solar panels. You know.
Well, it says that, we've basically declared war, but it doesn't say, did it say that we were attacked or anything?
No.
No, it just says that
It's
we're
not
rough
happening yet.
times ahead.
Because there's a bunch of things that you got to weigh in this card. Do you trust your president enough that when he says you believe there's going to be war? Are you prepared to completely change your life if the guy goes on TV and tells people to get ready? World War II, something like that happened. People still went to work and stuff. Of course, we didn't have the destruction capabilities that we have today, right? But for me, here in California, I would get the heck out of here.
But do you have some place to go?
Yes, I do.
Good.
So I would get out of here, man. This place is going to be a nuclear wasteland.
After the president declares that we're in World War III, how much time do you think we're going to have in order to be settled down and ready to take on what's coming?
Oh, by the time he goes on TV and says it's been already happening for a while. It's probably undeniable.
But when's it going to hit the point where you're not going to be able to move anymore?
I don't know. I guess when we get invaded.
By the time he's announced it, DHS will already have checkpoints set up. You see what they do? They block the center of the road so you can't turn around anymore. Time he tells you, it's too late.
Yeah, I mean, when we drove out to Utah last summer, everything's in place on the major freeways.
Yep.
You're screwed going out through Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado, any place like that.
Yeah.
So, if you don't have a alternate route to travel, and I don't mean necessarily roadways, I'm talking tributaries, I'm talking rail services, whatever you need to do, you're pretty much screwed. So, what do you think, Doc?
I think my perspective is a little different than the guys. Historically, we've gone to war as humans for a really long time, and unless we are directly impacted, I don't see a reason to immediately, hop ship and take off for another location, because we don't know exactly what's happening. If the region is going to be directly impacted, then yes, I would leave. But if we were to go to war tomorrow, I would probably just go on with my day as usual, but just be overly cautious and probably add a little bit more to my food storage and my preps.
What if, before the president went on air and watching the news, following the news, because I know you do that a lot, what if we saw troops being activated from Russia, say, built up in Mexico or someplace like that, South America, Venezuela?
Was that any different than like what happened in the 60s and the 50s and the 40s?
So you would not be concerned about that, and you would stay where you're at. And I don't know where you're at, so if you feel comfortable there, you might be in a good location anyways.
I'm in a fairly remote area in Oregon, so yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried about it here.
But what if you lived in, say, Texas or Arizona, California?
Well, I don't think that I can necessarily make that call because I don't live in a large city, but personally I wouldn't be worried about it until something else started happening to us directly. I don't know.
What would set off a red flag to make you start thinking about it, though? What would it take?
To physically leave?
Yeah.
If people started dropping bombs and stuff, more than likely.
Okay.
I mean, some direct attack to the United States.
I mean, dropping bombs is something that can happen in a blink of an eye. You know,
I don't disagree with that, but you don't know where something's going to happen.
And she brings up a good point, though. If they're going to drop bombs, they're not going to drop a bomb in the middle of Oregon. They're going to drop, and they're going to hit L.A., Chicago, New York, Washington, possibly Dallas. You know, one of the bigger cities. If she's not close to that, then...
And that's part of my personality, is making that choice to not want to live in a very large city, so I don't have to worry about making decisions like that and worrying about, tons of traffic on the freeways and trying to get out, and worrying about just tons of people in general.
Good point. Alika, what do you think?
I mean, if World War III broke out, I would pretty much go about my day, probably get put on alert and whatnot, but I mean, I would definitely amp up my food storage and try and get my hands on as much ammo as I could. Now, and then just wait it out. But if we're talking a whole Red Dawn situation and parachuting from the skies, that would have to be assess the situation and fight or flight, live another day.
Well, you bring up the point that once he makes an announcement that you're going to go look for more ammo, how much time from the time he announces it do you think it's going to take for pure chaos, like we've seen, before Blizzard or something like that, to go on?
Well, I don't think people are prepared for...
Or you think they would just be stunned where they wouldn't react at all?
I think they would be stunned, and mainly people would automatically assume that we would be in an air war, a la the first phase of the war on terrorism. I mean, we're dropping bombs and Predator drones and F-16s and everything. There really was no troop movement, so I think people would just automatically assume the beginning of a war that they won't see any troops crossing the border or and start shooting everybody in sight. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I think people would just be slow to act if there was a major event like that.
Like this isn't really happening. We've seen too many movies on TV about this, so it's not real.
Yeah.
Where our president, our government, our military will protect us. We have nothing to worry about.
Exactly.
Because we've been hyped up so much.
I don't know. I just posted pictures of Syria before and after the streets. I mean, look at that stuff before. Doesn't that look like our streets?
In Detroit?
No.
I mean before?
On the after, it looks like Detroit, but I'm saying on the before. A lot of these streets look like our streets right now, Of course, they have an older architecture, but you see cars, you see people going about their business. And then, at a blink of an eye, a few months, well, I guess it's been a couple of years down there, but everything is destroyed. There's no bug in a place like this. And there are whole cities like this.
Yeah, but that's the point, though. It's in the cities. How much has the country been affected, or the countryside been affected by it?
Well, everybody goes to the countryside. Everybody does.
Or leaves the country. How many people do you think will head to Canada?
Lots. I saw a picture of the Syrian refugees, many of them, just everywhere. I'm going to drop that in the chat room for you to take a look at. These are people that had jobs, that went about their business just like everybody else. You can't see the end of that line. You can't see it.
Well, I think we saw that in Venezuela too, with what's going on down there. It's the lines of people waiting to get food was just astronomical.
Yeah, it's going to be a very different world, you know. Very different world. Look at this. It's insane. So, out of California. Because I know people here are not ready for... They're not ready for regular work. Do you think they're going to be ready to live after...
It depends on if the Grammy Awards are on or not.
Yeah, if Idol is on, then I guess people around, but I'm not. I'm going to be gone.
I'll bug out during commercial break.
Yeah, no.
It's almost over. Just one more minute.
Okay, last question. Grocery stores and mini-marts have been ransacked because we've gone to war. Your group is low on food. It is in desperate need of resources. What other locations would you start looking for food or possible supplies to barter with? So Costco, Sam's Club, Walmart, they've all been obliterated. They're gone. They've just been trashed. Where are some other resources that you might be able to pull some supplies from? Geek, what do you think?
Nature, hunt, look for wild edibles, eat dandelions if nothing else. Start focusing on places where people aren't looking, auto parts places where they have vending machines, distribution warehouses like where Kroger ships their stuff from and Walmart's. Just, start tearing through the yellow pages trying to find those places. Schools, nursing homes.
Okay.
Read the chat room.
Reading in the chat room is...
Yeah, I just saw those. Like, those are great.
That's technically cheating.
So, Tucky 2 is going to come be part of my crew now because of those good answers.
No, actually, she's going to be on the show here in a couple weeks.
All right, man. She can come hang out.
Yeah. Doc, what do you think? Any place you would hit up that you can think of?
Well, I think a lot of those have already been hit, so I guess other places to consider would probably... if they haven't been ransacked already, it would be, again, like nurseries for actual plants and whatnot. You can eat those, and y'all can just come visit me in Oregon because, we have tons of nurseries and gardens, and you can eat pretty much anything that you find in the wilderness as long as you know what you're looking for. Looking out for mushrooms and berries and just going out and trying to find what nature can also give you if you can't find anything else in human habitats.
Yeah, Top Knot in the chat room mentioned, what about bringing up nursing homes? What about eating the old people?
Jerky.
I think I'll pass on that one.
Beef jerky.
So sinewy.
They're chewy. Where's Chris at when we need him? But Alika, what do you want to add to that? Where else would you start looking?
I would definitely hit the feed stores, the CVS. I think people will hit the CVS for the drugs, but they'll forget about the food in the beginning, at least. And
but that's an atypical drugstore. But what about a vet's office? A veterinarian's office. A lot of those drugs in there can be used for human consumption if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Dog food.
Do
that.
Pet
hospitals, things like that. I guess they would have lots of dog and cat foods there, canned or dry.
Amoxicillin.
If I was hungry enough, I'd eat some dog food.
You eat a dog? What are you talking about?
Heck yeah.
I would definitely eat the dog. But, besides the stuff that's already been touched on, I think the only thing I can think of is, going into a big office building, there's always a kitchen, and everybody has their lunches, and, there's stockpiles of soda and bottled water there. I don't think anybody would hit that until the very, very end.
Yeah, true. What about like the when you go to the gym, to work out after work? A lot of those places have some kind of little, food place in there. Not necessarily vending machines with soda and candy bars,
I would totally go to a university.
There you
how
go.
many freaking places they have at a university for the students to eat?
Plus, in their dorms, they probably have a little refrigerator.
Yeah.
Raid the dorm rooms.
And they would have a crap load of ramen noodles.
And pot.
Oh, that would just be counterproductive for the food, wouldn't it? Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm full. Oh, I'm stoned. Oh, I'm hungry.
Yeah, but you'd be happy as hell.
I'd bug out in my mind.
I'm really sitting in the middle of Oregon right now, dude.
Yeah, that's why we have folks in Oregon. We know what they're doing.
Exactly. More power to them. You get that
That's
stuff
why you
ready.
guys should just come out and visit.
We're gonna do that. You invited all of us. Remember that.
As long as you bring that whiskey or rum that you promised as a bribe.
Some moonshine. We've got some.
There you go.
JD, what would you add? Where would you look?
I'd probably go to like a Home Depot.
You can
They
eat
got
They have beef jerky.
Yep.
they have
Check out
jerky,
snacks.
they have nuts, they have water, they have seeds. And I don't think people are going to be going there. If they do, they're going to be going for fridges and dishwasher or whatever. But I think it'd be a good place.
There's got to
That's
be.
what I-
Are we missing? I feel like we're missing someplace. Some
Yeah, I know.
place huge. Someplace that would make sense.
Like you can go to the distribution warehouses.
Yeah, but I feel like there's something else that's like right in front of us that we're overlooking.
Did
What
we
about
say
restaurants?
schools?
I mean, are we assuming restaurants have already been pillaged?
Yeah, I'd say anything that has any kind of food normally in it would be gone. It's those out of the way little tucked away places that you normally wouldn't think of.
Oh, good one would be office supply stores.
Oh, yeah.
Snacks.
Nobody's going to go buy pens and paper.
Exactly.
And they have like the big containers of cheese balls and stuff back there.
Pretzels. Yeah.
Cheesy poofs!
Yeah, those things. They might be,
There's
they might be
Funeral
stale as
home.
all hell.
Funeral homes.
Oh!
No, they have snacks, right, for the mourners and the people that work there? I crash funerals all the time for free food. Come on.
What about the railways or something like that where they're collecting the railroad cars? You think some of those would be refrigerated and have food in them?
Amtrak has full kitchens on those puppies, man. You could probably get a lot of food there.
There we go.
yeah.
The train station, that's a good one.
And it'd be on my route anyway, because I'm taking the tracks to you guys.
Well, what about the warehouse for the vending machines in town? Do you know where those are at?
Ooh, good one.
I'm Googling
Here,
them right
it's
now.
usually like Pepsi.
Well, our Pepsi guys just got off strike. They've been on strike all week here in Indianapolis. So they are now
Great.
back to work.
They're demanding higher wages or something, or
It has to do with insurance. I think we're going to see a lot more of it. A lot more of it. And the union was involved, so enough said.
oh my goodness.
Fruit warehouses. Yeah, but see, I'm worried about that kind of stuff because it's not going to last as long unless you know how to preserve it. But
Orchards.
I think you're on the right track there, Doc, with the foraging aspect of it. Just
See,
go.
rail cars are good, but they're really, I've yet to find like a detailed map or anything that would give you any indication on what would be actually in the rail car.
Yeah, that would be the only problem. Well, we are down to about 3 minutes, so before we lose everyone here, like we usually do every Tuesday night, let's go back through and reintroduce everyone. Doc, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you for attempting to bribe me, and I'll be expecting that rum any day, or moonshine.
It'll be personally delivered when shit hits the fan.
Sounds good.
Send your smoke signals up and we'll find you.
Okay.
Aliga?
I am with SHTFready.com. We are also doing our shotgun raffle, which is for Webley & Scott 612. It's a 12-gauge tactical shotgun. It's a $10 raffle. Check it out. It is bit.ly/SHTFready or SHTFready. Sorry.
Got it. Kind of worried me then when you started that BIT stuff.
I know. I'm hosting it right now.
It's like, dude, again? Really? Awesome. Shotgun raffle. There's a way to get your weapon cache built up, huh? Join the raffles. Geek, thank you for being with us tonight. We look forward to seeing you every week now.
Oh, it's so much fun. It goes so fast, but it's the high point of my week, and I love it. So come see me during the other days, geekprepper.org. Also on Facebook, you can get us from there. So I'll post it in the chat room. Can't wait to see you next week, guys.
Awesome. Next week, who do we have? Who is with us next week? Our Jackie's going to be with us. She is one fantastic author, female apocalyptic author. Just finished her book, Last Woman. You ever think about being the last woman on Earth after Downgrid? Go get her book. It's $2.99 on Kindle right now. I have it up on our pink Facebook page. But interesting.
I'm gonna ask Chris if he thinks about being the last woman in the world.
But she'll be with us next week, 7 days from today. So that should be a fun show because she's a little sick and twisted, in my opinion. JD, dude, thank you again.
Thanks everybody, great to be here. Get the cards at conflictedgame.com/pepperchicks.
And the app will be out. You'll let us know, give us updates on that so everybody can get it downloaded.
Oh, yes. Definitely will, and I'm going to need you guys and your good reviews. So meditate on how much you love this game for a while.
Do you have a price point you're looking at?
$4.99.
Awesome. Cheap and easy. It's the way we like them.
Yeah, and we're not going to go cheap because we want to keep the